What a crazy week in the markets. So, are we going to continue parabolic move all the way across the 2023, or finally we're going to see a cool down? Well, let's go over it in this video where I bring you, as always, the best weekly analysis, my opinion on the market, crypto and stock market, and what I think is going to happen and how you could use it to your advantage to make some money. Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Dan, and as always I'm gonna be covering everything that's happening in the markets. If you haven't watched previous videos, because the base or the core stays the same, however I'm just adding my thoughts every single video on a weekly analysis, what I think what's going to happen. This is just because if you don't understand what am I talking about, if in some point in time you get lost and say, hey, what is this guy talking about, just watch my previous videos and you will understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, as always, without further ado, let's head to the charts and let's see how this week will play out, in my opinion. We're gonna be starting, as always, with the Nasdaq 100 technical analysis. And as you can see, guys, let me just remove all these drawings so you can see it clearly like this. Nasdaq went parabolic. Okay, just continue the parabolic move. Look at this. This is a weekly chart. Look at this huge wick. So we had this consolidation, this ascending triangle that I told you in the last video. Let me hide it once again. So we had a consolidation, and finally we had a breakout with vigor from this area, which I told you that is a possibility. Okay, now let me just zoom in on the daily chart to see a little bit better. So yeah, this was the triangle that I was telling you about, the squeezing triangle, and it did play out. Okay, we did break out of this range. I didn't like it. I don't like these two bullish moves, guys, but I'm gonna be going over every possible scenario later on. Let's just add the lines back. I know, a lot of lines, right, on the chart. Basically, you don't recognize anything because of these lines. However, they are needed to be there. Now, let me just zoom out once again on a weekly chart. So Nasdaq, where can it go from here? Okay, I don't like the lines. Let me hide them again. Where can it go from here? Now, as you can see, we're at this very important pivot level. All right, this was the previous resistance, okay, in 2 times. So here, this was in August 2021, and right over here was the fall to the downside in January 2022. Now, if we break this area, honestly, we are very, very close to all-time highs. So at the moment, the thing that can push us higher to the all-time highs actually is just the continuation of the momentum through good earnings reports. So we need to see good earnings reports from the tech companies in order to push us higher with the momentum. We have end of July, in about, I think, 10 days or so, we have a FOMC meeting. So it's going to be a live meeting. If that meeting is not that bearish as everybody expects it to be, and since I'm gonna be talking about it later, but since one of the most bearish Fed members resigned, Bullard, Fed member Bullard, he was one of the most bearish guys, and he was always pushing for higher rate hikes. So without him, Fed might start to waver a bit, and they might slowly start to show signs of uncertainty by saying, hey, we did maybe a little bit too much. We're gonna pause now until, I don't know, quite some time. Anything that's going to tell us that they're gonna pause for an extended period of time is going to be very bullish for the market. Okay, so basically my thoughts are the continuation of the momentum can be supported by earning reports, and also FOMC meeting and interest rate decision not to be too bearish. So even if they bring 25 BPS increase, but the guidance is not too bearish as it was the last time, okay, that means that we have a chance to break all-time highs. Yes, guys, I don't like it either. I don't like the beginning of the bull market where we are at the peak of interest rate hikes. We don't see pivot yet, but what can you do? Market is usually forward thinking. So if the market wants to just keep pumping endlessly, we need to follow it. We just need to adjust. Okay, so my predictions are, as I've told you already, are not going to be based anymore on the technicals. Let me just put the back lines on the chart. It's not going to be based on the technicals. It's going to be based on the macro, and that's how I'm going to bring my decisions. But now to give you a little bit further guidance. So as you can see, we ended up Friday on a with this wick to the downside, basically in red, okay, just a slight red, but still it's in red. Now what we need to do if we want to remain bullish is something like this. Maybe go back down to this area of 15,400 and then just continue all the way momentum to 16,000. Okay, so that would be, sorry, let me just put it here so you can see better. That would be the bullish scenario. Okay, so come back down, cool down a little bit, and then retest this area of 15,400 and just go back, grab some liquidity and go back to 16,000. Now let me just go back on the weekly chart one more time to show you something. As you can see, this peak right over here, and if you can see this peak right over here, look at the charts, oh sorry, the indicators. We have huge bearish divergence on a weekly chart. Weekly chart is very strong when it comes to divergences. So what this means is that soon we're either going to continue the momentum and just catch up and break previous all-time high, or very soon we're going to have a big correction to the downside. All right, I mean, logically 50-50, it's either gonna go up and down. I mean, I know I didn't really help much, but what I'm saying, based purely on the technicals, we should see a big correction incoming. And of course, I've been talking about it for how many videos. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore because I'm becoming very boring to myself as well. So indicators, based on the indicators only, bearish divergence, sorry, hidden bearish divergence, which tells us that there's going to be correction. Okay, RSI on a weekly chart still stays in a very high level, 75, which is overbought zone. Okay, and now if we go on a daily chart, all right, basically we see the same thing. Look at the indicators. Look, we have bearish divergence, typical bearish divergence on a daily chart, which tells us that if we're going to be looking at indicators only, we need to have pullback. Now, why I don't look indicators anymore, why I don't find them reliable? Because during the bull market, indicators are not that reliable, guys. Indicators don't work very well in a very trendy market. This is a trendy market, okay? Indicators don't work very well, all right? So all these signals, I'm taking them with a grain of salt, and I will always take them only together with some other confluences or some other signals that I have, and macro environment, so news. If I have bad news, which maybe there's going to be bad earning reports, okay, that's where I'm going to take this bearish divergence as a sign, as a signal to take a short trade. Okay, so what we want to see next week is bad earnings reports. Okay, if we want to see Nasdaq finally cooling down. If we see bad earnings reports, then from here we're just going to be continuing to the downside to somewhere around, let's say, again, I told you as last time, 14,700 area, and then finally 14,200 area. Only if we have bad earnings reports. As I told you, if we have good earnings report, it's going to be something like this, grabbing of the liquidity at 15,400 and going all the way back to the upside to 16,000. All right. What I will be doing next week, just to give you a small recap, is I will be watching closely tech companies reporting their earnings reports. And depending on that and the other news, I'm going to be taking my position. So if the news are bad, okay, that's where I'm going to consider this bearish divergence as valid signal, and I'm going to be taking short. Okay, so if you want to take short, it will be somewhere off of this area, basically 15,700. All right, and you would be taking profits, first profits at around 15,000. All right. So this is the short, this is basically now at the moment area to be shorting. If you want to be taking longs, you should be taking long position from somewhere at this area, let's say 15,000 to 300. All right. So short position take from 15,600-700, long position take from 15,000 to 300 area. Okay. Now that's all from technical point of view for Nasdaq. Everything screams that it's gonna go down, but as I told you, doesn't have to be. We can just easily continue the momentum. Now let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin weekly chart. Bitcoin and crypto itself had some amazing news, which I'm gonna talk about later. XRP or Ripple, they won the case against SEC. They are not security, and that actually started with a really nice pump. Ripple went up 70% or something. But what happened was, of course, as you can see by the wick, manipulation as always at its best. Basically, I don't even have an explanation. Let me just delete this. I don't even have an explanation for this huge red day except manipulation. All right, this screams pure manipulation. Now, I'm going to talk about it. We had this really nice pump to the upside, okay, on Bitcoin. Ripple won the case. It's very bullish for all the altcoins, blah blah blah. Everybody started buying. It created a really nice momentum. Plus, SEC acknowledged the Bitcoin ETF submissions by all these guys. Like, all the news were good. But then why did we have this huge red candle from 31,600 to 29,900? Okay. Well, to me, the logical explanation is deleveraging, okay? Deleveraging and manipulation. Everybody is euphoric. All the retail traders are euphoric. What does that mean? That means that when the retail pumps, okay, bigger guys or whales or institution, they take some profits off the table, all right? So you pump it for them, they take some profits, boom, they dump it down. There was a big, huge amount of euphoria, as I said, on the markets a couple of days back, and that meant one thing: a lot of leverage being brought into the market. People were just going ham. They were going 100+ leverage on Bitcoin or all the other assets, because in their minds is logical. Yeah, we have good news. We're just gonna pump, right? It just has to go up. And everybody was thinking we're gonna finally break 32,000. However, that's where the big profit taking from some bigger players happened. Also followed by some selling, right? Some day traders, they started scalping as well from this area, and also profit taking. So all this big momentum created a big flush, which actually liquidated so many hundreds of millions of dollars off of the market. So people, retail traders, as always, lost a lot of money, all right? So be careful, don't over leverage yourself. Not even when you have the best news. You see how the tables can turn in one single day. So what does this mean? One more time, just to make it clearer for the people that don't know. People were using leverage, which is borrowed money, okay? On certain exchanges, you can use leverage up to 125 or something like that, even 500. So let's say you have $100 and you're using 100 times leverage. So now you're using $100 times 100 leverage, which is $10,000. So basically you're trading a position of a $10,000 worth, when in reality you only have $100. So just a small fraction of the move can wipe you out of the markets. And this is exactly what happened right over here. So there's a lot of people who went in with all the leverage because they were thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna make so much money, which some people did. But then they went all in, boom, they got flushed down, stopped out. And when they got stopped out, this huge wave of stop loss triggered, just continued going lower and lower and pushed the price all the way to 29,900, all right? So basically, all these guys, the day prior, they served as a liquidation exit or a liquidity exit for the big players, right? They just basically throw away their money into these other guys' pockets. And that's how the market works. Unfortunately, this is how things are. But as I already told you, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin still. And I do think that we're not going to break this area of 29,500. I just think that we had this kind of manipulation, but we're going to grab some liquidity and just go hop all the way above 32K finally. I really do believe that the next time when we pump on Bitcoin, let me just zoom out a little bit. Sorry. I do think that the next time we pump on Bitcoin is going to be something way bigger, and we're gonna have maybe, let's say, one final liquidation at around 29,500, just to go and break it all the way. What is happening? Break it all the way to look at this arrow. Look at this stupid arrow. Unbelievable. No, Bitcoin is not gonna go to the left. So let me draw it again. So one final liquidation, and finally we're gonna go somewhere at around 36, 37K. This is my prediction for Bitcoin. I don't think we're gonna be going lower than this area. Let's say max we're gonna go is 28,740. Just like a final liquidity grab, and boom, we're gonna propel up to the 40s area, 36, 7, 8, 9, 40 area. Okay, for Bitcoin, just to sum it up, if you want, we have also this bearish divergence on Bitcoin. Yes, that's true, that's correct, but I wouldn't be looking at it, because for Bitcoin it is way more important to look at the macro. Okay, and the macro is finally good, so I would be looking more at the macro than at these divergences on this MACD and RSI. I wouldn't actually pay attention to them. So the area to buy, just to give you basically like a proper thing, the area to buy is right over here. Right over here. Okay, so somewhere between 30,000 and 28,700. This is the area to buy. This is where you want to buy. Your stop loss, as I told you last time, should be somewhere at, let's say, 28,500, right, somewhere over here. So this is the ultimate support, ultimate level of support that I see. And even if it happens some kind of manipulation and we go all the way here, just to continue all the way back up, you're not going to be kicked out if you put your stop losses somewhere at around this area. Okay, that will be it for Bitcoin. If you want to accumulate, start accumulating right over here, and I really do believe that we're going to break out of this 32,000 area very soon. Okay, let's go on to some news, because I've been taking too much time on these kind of things. And as always, we're going to start with the economic calendar for next week. Monday, there's nothing much happening, basically almost nothing. Tuesday, we have core retail sales, we have retail sales, and that's pretty much it. We have Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Barr speaks. Then we have on Wednesday, we have building permits, we don't care. Crude oil, we don't care. So basically Wednesday, again, a big nothing. All right. Then on Thursday, as always, we have initial jobless claims. Then we have Fed Manufacturing Index. And we have existing home sales. Existing home sales, we need to pay attention to it, okay? Because this is what's gonna tell us how the economy is doing, and are we going to fall into a recession, and is the housing market going to burst, right? And then Friday, basically nothing. Okay, so next week is not about the reports. Yes, as always, we do have some normal initial jobless claim reports, etc. What did I say here? Core retail sales, but that doesn't really impact, especially Nasdaq, as much. Okay, pay attention to it, but you know, it's not something that's going to impact it by a lot. Now let's move on to what is going to impact it, is the earnings calendar or earnings report of big companies. Okay, so Monday we do have nothing, basically not big companies. Tuesday we do have Bank of America. So basically you always earning reports always start with the big banks first, and big hedge funds, etc., management firms. On Friday we had let me just show you. So we had BlackRock, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, etc. Now on Tuesday we're gonna have Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Lockheed Martin, Prologis, Charles Schwab, PNC, blah blah blah. So then on Wednesday, something very important for the Nasdaq is Tesla and Netflix. Then we have ASM Holding, IBM, Goldman Sachs, USB, etc. A lot of these companies Nasdaq. Now on Thursday we have TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, Johnson Johnson, ABT, SAP, Philip Morris, Marsh & Blackstone, blah blah blah. All right, and then finally on Friday we have American Express, Roper, Regions Financial, etc. So there is quite a few companies that are reporting. What I'm going to be looking at the most is Wednesday is going to be Tesla and Netflix after closing. Okay, so when you see this small moon, that means that they're reporting after the market close. When you see this sun, that means that they're reporting before market open. Keep that in mind, because if you want to buy or sell on a given day, you need to take this into decision to see how they performed first before you buy or sell something. So now let me just go quickly on some news, which says JP Morgan, Citigroup, Wells Fargo to kick off earnings season. What to expect? Q2 earnings season kick off with the banking sector entering the limelight. Banking crisis concerns have abated following stress tests by the Fed. Big players Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo report first with positive expectations. Okay, so all these guys actually they increase their revenue, like Citigroup, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. Then there's some strong analyst optimism ahead of JP Morgan earnings, la la la. all these things are not a surprise, and I'm gonna tell you why they're not a surprise. They're not a surprise because in environment of high interest rate hikes, which we are now, the highest interest rate hikes in, I don't know, 20 years or so, the banks should be performing well. Why is that so? Why should banks be performing well? Simply because they are charging people more money on their loans, on their mortgages, on their loans and everything. All the borrowings that banks do to you guys, you're paying more now in this environment, because as the Fed increases the rate hikes, that's how they increase the rates for you or for other companies that are borrowing from them. So that's why this is the spiral, right? Fed increases rate hikes for banks. Banks and wealth and management institutions increase it even more to other clients. So basically banks should be doing very well because they're actually making way more money now, right? The final people who are actually losing on this deal are us, retail or regular people, normal people who are just borrowing and paying credit cards and everything, loans, mortgages. You're the ones who's losing money the most because you're the actual one who's paying all of this. Bank is just a middleman and they're actually profiting off of you. They're repaying back to the Fed, but they're profiting, right? So if the Fed put on 5.25 interest rate, the bank is gonna charge you whatever, 9% interest. I'm just guessing. This is just some guessing, right? So banks are actually making a lot of money, and that's why all these positive earnings reports are not a surprise for the banking sector. And that's why in this earnings reports, I will not be even looking at the banking sector. And I'm not gonna take their positive results as a holy grail that says, oh, economy is doing great. No, because it is expected from them to do good in this environment. What I will be looking in the earnings season is all of the other companies who do not profit off of the rate hikes, but in reverse, they actually lose money in this higher environment. So you want to see, let's say, I'm gonna give you another example. Let's say, Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, yeah. I'm not going to be looking at Lockheed Martin Corporation. Why? Lockheed Martin Corporation is a military company. They are making military equipment and weapons. And as you know, at the moment with the war in Ukraine, these guys are making so much money. So you don't want to look at profits of Lockheed Martin when in this environment, it's very normal for them to make a lot of money. You have a war in the world going on. We're almost at the brink of the World War III. These guys, of course, they're going to make money. You're not going to look at them. You're not going to look at the banks, as I've said, because they're also profiting off of the high interest rates. You're going to be looking at something like Tesla, okay, who's actually a growth company, and they're actually having a lot of debt and they're paying interest rate on this debt. And you want to see how they're doing, okay? You want to see how Netflix is doing. You want to see how IBM is doing. You want to see everything else except the banking sector and let's say military sector, because as I told you, it's very logical for them to profit. So that's just some logic and some news to cover. Now let's go on to some crypto news. Breaking! Judge rules XRP is not a security in SEC case against Ripple. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They freaking did it. This is a huge win, guys, for all the altcoins, not only XRP. For all the altcoins, this is a big win against the SEC. It's a big FU to Gary Gensler and all these guys. And I think they're doomed, okay? This is amazing. This is just the first step. Now, with Ripple winning the case, Binance and Coinbase are just gonna shrug them off, okay? With their billion dollars in pocket ready to fight the SEC, they're gonna just wipe the floor with them, okay? It's gonna be super easy now for Coinbase and Binance to rip apart the SEC. They have no chance. I still stand behind my logic of saying we might see one sacrificial lamb. We might see one coin be sacrificial lamb just because SEC cannot just go down like that. I do believe they're gonna pick somebody apart. I kind of doubt that is going to be maybe Matic, Polygon. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just saying my pick. If I would have to pick, I think I would pick Matic. Why? Don't ask me why. Just my guess. My personal gut instinct. So yeah, it's a big win for XRP, big win for the whole crypto industry, and it's really good. These are really, really good and positive news, all right? As I already told you, XRP pumped 70-80% up in one day. It reversed a little bit down, but now Ron DeSantis vows to ban CDBCs. I cannot even read anymore. CDBCs in the US if elected president. And actually he had a really nice conversation with Tucker Carlson. I don't even know this guy. Like, a lot of people hate him. They say that he's whatever, super bad, fascist, blah blah blah. I don't know, how is he. I don't live in the US. I really have no idea what kind of laws is he putting in place. But this is something that I actually agree with him. He basically said something along the lines that again, I cannot read, man. CDBCs are actually a disaster for regular people, and he's 100% right. CDBCs are actually super bad for you and me as regular folks. Why? Literally, the government will be able to control you 100%. One mistake, one error. Look at what happened to this. I always mention him, Andrew Tate. One mistake, boom. Because CDBCs are actually digital money like cryptocurrencies, but owned by the government. So you don't even have cash anymore with you. You can't run away anywhere. So basically, all they need to do is bloop, shut off your account, click one button, you're erased. You don't exist in the system. You're done, you're toast. There's no freedom, there's no democracy, nothing. You don't do what they tell you. You don't take 65th shot for COVID, bloop, turn him off. Just like fuck it, these movies, man, like these futuristic movies. I forgot what's the name. I think Matt Damon was in one. I don't remember. Anyways, they shut you off, literally. Matrix, right? They just shut you off if they don't like you, if they have something against you. So the CDBCs are actually a really bad stuff for us. So we don't want to see them. If we need to implement any cryptocurrency, yes, because it's completely decentralized, we need to implement something like Bitcoin, which is decentralized, right? Rather than any of these stuff, because they will be able to take your... first of all, they'll be able to see where you're spending your money all the time. They can see it even now. Privacy, right? They can see it now. They can see everything. But still, you can at least take some cash and, whatever, try to hide it, to, buy some cryptocurrencies and buy stuff with them. Something like that. With this stuff, you won't be able to hide absolutely nowhere. Nothing. That's it, your privacy is gone 100%, and they can control you. They can try to blackmail you, do whatever they want. So with this, I'm going to end my this weekly video, and as a conclusion, I really want to see pullback. We are really overextended, but we don't need to see pullback. We might just continue to the all-time highs, as I told you already, because it's just facts. Sometimes you have your own personal bias, like I have a bearish bias, but then on the other hand, you have pure facts. And pure facts are if the Fed is not bearish enough, and if we have really good earnings reports, we're going to break all-time highs. There's nothing stopping us. And probably people are just gonna keep shorting and shorting and shorting, which will lead into another short squeeze. Okay, so guys, just follow the trend slowly. Don't overreact. Don't be too emotional about it. Market, this is the best sentence ever that I heard. Markets can stay irrational for way longer than we can stay solvent. So basically, markets can just continue pumping all the way up until we lose all our money, right? So don't short, wait, slowly look at it. Look for the confirmation, signs of weakness, and if you see the weakness and if you see the cracks, then only go into shorting or whatever your bias is. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to look at the previous videos, subscribe, like this video, comment down below if you want me to talk about something else, cover anything special in particular, or anything, right? Just give me some ideas if you want to see something. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much and have a great day.